The stage is set for the highly anticipated rematch between Joe Biden and Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. This showdown marks the first presidential rematch since 1956 and the first between a current and former president since 1892. However, unlike Biden's favorable position in the 2020 campaign, this time around, he faces a tougher path to re-election. With no better than a 50-50 chance, Biden's supporters recognize that Trump stands a real chance at reclaiming the White House. How probable is it for him to win the 2024 presidential elections? How will his ongoing legal troubles impact the unfolding narrative? In this video, we'll explore all the issues concerning Trump's bid for re-election. While early polling suggests a tight race in a hypothetical showdown between Trump and Biden, the lessons of the 2016 election serve as a reminder against underestimating Trump's potential. However, within Republican circles, doubts persist regarding Trump's electability, with many arguing that he poses too great a risk. Democrats, meanwhile, appear to favor the prospect of facing Trump in an election, confident in their ability to defeat him once again. Yet, the idea that Trump is inherently unelectable is not without its challenges. Undoubtedly, a rematch between Trump and Biden would present significant hurdles for the former president. However, it's important to recognize that the assertion of Trump can't win is a definitive statement that may not fully encapsulate the complexities of electoral politics. Once a candidate secures a major party nomination, their chances of winning increase significantly simply by virtue of being one of the two individuals deemed plausible contenders for the presidency. A nominee inherently inherits a substantial electoral base, accounting for roughly half of the country's electorate, equating to around 45% of the popular vote and approximately 200 electoral votes. This base provides a solid foundation from which to build their campaign. Each party has established a formidable stronghold across numerous states, dominating elections at all levels, from presidential contests to congressional and state races. Even if the odds are significantly against Trump, with Joe Biden holding a 70% chance of winning compared to Trump's 30%, it's crucial to remember that events with a 30% likelihood occur frequently. In various contexts, such as in sports, a 30% chance is not uncommon or surprising. For instance, a skilled major league hitter has approximately a 30% chance of getting a hit during any given at-bat, and fans don't react with shock when it happens. In a rematch between Trump and Biden, neither candidate would be considered a robust or broadly appealing choice. Therefore, while Biden may be the favorite, Trump's chances, although lower, cannot be discounted. In the 2016 election, Trump's narrow victory over Hillary Clinton cemented his image among many Republicans as an unstoppable force in electoral politics. This perception was fueled, in part, by the collective relief felt within the party at the prospect of ending the Clinton era. Likewise, Biden's razor-thin margin of victory over Trump in the 2020 election has led many Democrats to view him as uniquely positioned to take on Trump. While Biden may not be regarded as an electoral juggernaut in the same vein as Trump was by Republicans, there is a sense among Democrats that his ability to defeat Trump is significant, especially considering the relief felt across the party at the removal of Trump from office, even if only temporarily. However, it's important to recognize that Biden's candidacy relies heavily on the contrast with Trump. In other words, Biden's electoral success may hinge more on running against Trump than on any inherent strength or appeal as a candidate. Although Trump may appear weaker than he was in 2020, Biden's own standing has also eroded. While Trump may struggle to garner additional support beyond his 2020 base, Biden faces the risk of losing some of his existing support. Recent polling, such as the New York Times Siena poll, paints a grim picture for Biden, with a meager 39% approval rating. A significant portion, 42%, strongly disapprove of his performance, including a notable 41% of independents. Biden's fortunes may improve if the economy stabilizes into a smooth landing, but if not, he remains a vulnerable incumbent presiding over a deeply discontented nation. Biden faces numerous risks that could undermine his presidency. There's the possibility of health issues or an untimely fall, ongoing concerns about the Hunter Biden scandal, and the potential impact of independent or third-party candidates siphoning off crucial votes. Additionally, the Electoral College tilts the playing field in favor of Republicans, and economic uncertainties loom large. Age poses a persistent vulnerability for Biden, with concerns likely to escalate over time rather than diminish. His recent stiffness and instances of appearing drowsy or incoherent raise questions about his physical fitness for the demanding role of the presidency. On the other hand, Trump faces his own challenges stemming from his enduring unpopularity. The recent Times poll highlights that 44% of individuals hold a strongly unfavorable view of Trump, including 49% of independents. This indicates that Trump's widespread unpopularity could continue to weigh him down if he were to enter a general election. The recent indictments further compound Trump's already tarnished reputation, serving as a potent wedge issue that galvanizes support among Republicans while eroding his standing among other demographics. In a historic turn of events, Donald Trump made headlines as the first former U.S. president to face criminal indictment. Across just 5 months, he was ensnared in 4 distinct cases, totaling a staggering 91 felony counts. Among these charges, some directly tied to Trump's involvement in the contentious aftermath of the 2020 election, as he now emerges as the leading contender for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. The legal turmoil surrounding Trump's actions continues to captivate public attention, shaping the narrative of his political future. With a firm not guilty plea, the former president gears up for multiple trials in the near future. Trump maintains that the charges are politically driven, backed by his legal team's argument for presidential immunity from prosecution during office. As trial dates loom and his team pushes for delays, the spotlight intensifies on the unfolding legal battles against the ex-president. The first case against Trump revolves around what's dubbed as the hush money scandal. This marked a historic moment as Trump became the first ex-president to face criminal charges. The indictment alleges that Trump falsified business records regarding payments made to Stormy Daniels, an adult film star, during the final stages of the 2016 presidential campaign. These payments, orchestrated by Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, aimed to silence Daniels about an alleged encounter with Trump in 2006. Prosecutors claim Trump reimbursed Cohen through his company, the Trump Organization, under false pretenses after winning the presidency. Additionally, Trump faces charges related to payments made to Playboy model Karen McDougal and a doorman to prevent potential scandals from surfacing during the 2016 election season. In New York, the seriousness of falsifying business records hinges on whether it's linked to concealing another crime. The Manhattan District Office charged Trump with a lower-level felony, carrying a maximum of 4 years in prison per count. The indictment suggests Trump falsified records to hide potential criminal activities, including alleged violations of state and federal election laws, without specifying a specific underlying offense. In recent statements, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin L. Bragg has characterized the case as one of election interference, focusing on efforts to corrupt the presidential election by concealing damaging information before the vote. Trump, steadfast in his denial of any affair with Daniels and adamant that the payment was unrelated to his campaign, entered a plea of not guilty. He publicly accused Bragg of bias, branding the investigation as a targeted witch hunt. Seeking to challenge the impartiality of the judge presiding over the case, Trump's legal team raised concerns about a conflict of interest. However, their efforts were rebuffed, with the judge affirming his commitment to fairness and impartiality. Despite Trump's assertions of unfair treatment within the state court system, his legal team opted to drop an appeal aiming to shift the case to federal jurisdiction. In the second legal saga, Trump faces unprecedented federal charges surrounding the handling of classified documents, a landmark event for a former president. The indictment alleges that Trump unlawfully retained highly sensitive national security materials after departing from the White House, despite repeated demands from the National Archives and Records Administration to return them. In a dramatic twist, FBI agents recovered over 100 classified documents from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in August 2022. Prosecutors contend that Trump not only shared these classified materials with unauthorized individuals, but also stored them in improper locations across his resort, including in a variety of unconventional places such as a ballroom, bathroom, and even his bedroom. The content of these documents is said to encompass vital information pertaining to the nation's nuclear programs, potential military vulnerabilities, and contingency plans for retaliation in the face of foreign threats. Adding further complexity, Trump's aide Walt Nauta and property manager Carlos de Oliveira are implicated as co-conspirators in the case, further entangling the legal proceedings in a web of intrigue and controversy. The indictment claims that leaking these documents could have jeopardized the safety and security of the nation. The potential consequences are significant. Making false statements carries a penalty of up to 5 years in prison per count, while willfully retaining national defense information could lead to a maximum of 10 years behind bars for each count. Furthermore, charges related to obstructing justice, withholding documents, and tampering with records carry the weightiest punishment, with each count potentially resulting in 20 years of imprisonment. Trump, along with his associates Nauta and de Oliveira, has entered a plea of not guilty. In a bold move, Trump's legal team filed a motion in January 2024, asserting that they will demonstrate the secure storage of records at Mar-a-Lago, and decrying the case as politically driven to undermine his 2024 presidential campaign. Despite Trump's efforts, a federal judge in March 2024 denied his motion to dismiss the case, prolonging the legal battle. In the third case, Trump is indicted by special counsel Jack Smith for his purported role in attempting to overturn the outcome of the 2020 election and disrupt the certification of the electoral vote on January 6, 2021. Prosecutors argue that Trump's actions posed a threat to the long-standing tradition of peaceful transfer of power in American democracy. The charges against Trump include conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government, alleging interference with the vote counting process, obstruction of an official proceeding stemming from the disruption of the January 6th election certification at the Capitol, and conspiracy to violate rights, claiming Trump denied voters their right to have their votes counted. These accusations thrust Trump into the heart of a contentious legal battle as the ramifications of his alleged actions reverberate across the nation. The indictment paints a damning picture of Trump's conduct in the aftermath of the 2020 election. Over the course of 2 months, Trump is accused of knowingly peddling falsehoods about electoral fraud, despite being repeatedly informed by officials, both within the Justice Department and his own campaign, that he had indeed lost the election. Prosecutors allege that Trump went so far as to pressure the Justice Department to validate these false claims and participated in a scheme involving fraudulent slates of electors. Moreover, Trump is accused of leveraging his influence to coerce Republican state officials and Vice President Mike Pence into overturning the electoral results. While federal prosecutors did not directly charge Trump with inciting the Capitol attack, they assert that he exploited the ensuing violence to undermine the legitimacy of Joe Biden's victory. Although the indictment mentions 6 co-conspirators, Trump stands as the sole individual facing charges, underscoring the gravity of the allegations against him and the legal storm that continues to engulf his post-presidential life. Trump maintains his plea of not guilty, asserting that he personally believed the election was rigged and disregarded advice from his legal team indicating otherwise. Despite efforts by his lawyers to dismiss the case based on claims of presidential immunity, the trial court judge in Washington, D.C. denied the motion. Subsequently, a federal appeals court upheld this decision on February 6th, allowing prosecution to proceed. With his legal options narrowing, Trump is expected to pursue further appeals, potentially escalating the matter to the U.S. Supreme Court. Last October, the judge in charge placed a gag order on Trump, preventing him from publicly criticizing witnesses and officials linked to the case, fearing his statements could incite violence from his supporters. Trump protested, claiming the order infringed upon his First Amendment rights. Despite his efforts, an appeals court upheld the order in December, albeit with some modifications allowing criticism of certain individuals. In January 2024, Trump's appeal to lift the order was denied by the full federal appeals court, leaving him with one final recourse, appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court. In the final case, dubbed the Georgia election interference, an indictment reveals a web of 41 charges involving Trump and 18 other defendants. Among these charges, 13 are leveled against Trump himself. The indictment alleges that they conspired to unlawfully overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia, undermining the will of the voters. Trump and his associates are accused of violating Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, a law that enables prosecutors to connect various crimes committed by different individuals under one corrupt enterprise. Moreover, Trump is depicted as the orchestrator of the alleged racketeering activity, casting a spotlight on the extent of his alleged involvement in the scheme. The indictment accuses Trump and his associates of disseminating false claims regarding voter fraud, orchestrating the creation of fake pro-Trump electors, and pressuring Georgia officials to overturn Joe Biden's victory. A pivotal moment highlighted in the indictment is a recorded phone call between Trump and Brad Raffensperger, Georgia's Secretary of State, where Trump is heard urging Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes, the exact number required to surpass Biden's lead in Georgia. In a significant development in March 2024, a judge dismissed 6 of the original 41 charges against Trump and his co-defendants, reducing the charges Trump faces to 10 instead of the initial 13. Trump maintains his plea of not guilty, dubbing the phone call with Raffensperger as perfect. Similar to the federal election interference case, Trump has invoked presidential immunity, seeking to dismiss the charges in Georgia. In January 2024, one of Trump's co-defendants accused Willis, the prosecutor, of a romantic relationship with the lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Willis admitted to the relationship but argued against her removal from the case. Wade denied any financial exchange with Willis. Trump took to Truth Social, claiming the case was a hoax orchestrated by Willis and Wade to meddle in the 2024 election. Trump's lead attorney, Steve Sado, criticized Willis for lack of transparency regarding the relationship's financial aspects. In mid-March, Wade resigned as special prosecutor to expedite the case after Judge McAfee mandated Willis and her team could continue only if he stepped down. Shortly after, Judge McAfee granted Trump and the co-defendants the green light to appeal the decision, allowing Willis to stay on the case. Already, 4 out of the 18 defendants have admitted guilt. Notably, if Trump were convicted, he couldn't pardon himself if re-elected as president, since the case involves a violation of Georgia state law, not federal law. The legal twists and turns surrounding this case continue to captivate attention as it progresses. Trump's potential conviction of felonies before the November 2024 election looms as a distinct possibility. However, he could employ legal maneuvers to delay trials, especially concerning classified material issues, potentially pushing them past the election. Moreover, some charges might be dismissed or result in acquittal due to jury dynamics. While a conviction would undoubtedly hamper Trump's prospects, the relentless news cycle's ability to overshadow events shouldn't be underestimated. Additionally, if the economy falters in the coming year, it could become the primary focus for Americans, overshadowing other concerns, including legal troubles for Trump. Despite facing multiple indictments, impeachment proceedings, and a previous electoral defeat, Donald Trump remains a figure of considerable influence within the Republican Party. While one might have expected him to retreat to a quieter life of leisure, perhaps spending his days on the golf course, Trump is instead actively pursuing a return to the highest office in the land. His resilience and determination are evident as he continues to assert himself as a frontrunner for the Republican nomination. Despite the controversy surrounding him, Trump's political base remains loyal, and he commands significant support within the party. As he navigates legal challenges and political hurdles, Trump's bid for the presidency is far from conventional. Yet, his enduring popularity among certain segments of the electorate underscores the unique dynamics at play in American politics. Whether he succeeds in his quest for the presidency once more remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: Donald Trump's presence in the political arena continues to shape the landscape in profound ways. As the possibility of Trump's second term looms, analysts are examining its potential impact not only on the U.S., but also on the global stage. Trump's staunch support for Israel, exemplified by the controversial decision to relocate the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, suggests continued backing for Israel. However, his reluctance to push Israel towards peace talks could impede progress in achieving lasting peace in the region. Trump's transactional approach to foreign policy raises concerns about his commitment to supporting Ukraine against Russian aggression. Past statements about withdrawing from NATO and hesitancy to impose sanctions on Russia could embolden Moscow, weakening Ukraine's position. In terms of U.S.-China relations, Trump's confrontational stance, including tariffs and trade tensions, could escalate rivalry between the two nations. His reluctance to defend Taiwan against Chinese threats may heighten the risk of military conflict in the Taiwan Strait. Moreover, Trump's skepticism towards climate change could hinder global efforts to combat rising temperatures and sea levels. A second term under Trump might see a rollback of environmental regulations, prioritizing fossil fuel industries and delaying the transition to a zero-carbon future. With the election approaching, many are apprehensive that Trump's return to the White House could lead to increased geopolitical tensions and setbacks on the international stage. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay updated on future content. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe Trump will return to the presidency? Share your opinions and insights in the comments section down below. If you found this video insightful,